All right, guys. So this week in this session, it's about how many people are going to follow through, maybe do some of your own homework, but maybe do it. All right. And so I had Todd, just to give you the backstory. This morning, I had heard about this, and then uh, early this morning, I was watching a video of something, and I had heard about this, and I stumbled more about it, and I says, you know what, I got to talk about this today. And I wasn't prepared to talk about it today, so I had Tom do first hour or so of the room, and I was watching this video, and then to try to pull something together, so I didn't just go on and babble on about something, but actually give you guys some resources to go to, and I thought through it. And so we do a lot of stuff in trying to become good at anything, including trading. I mean, you guys, I see familiar names every Tuesday in this session. I see familiar names every day in the trading room. And so guys are just religiously able to do something in a repetition manner. And so in anything though, we have to not only train, but then we have to know the right and wrong ways to train. You know, how many times have I said that the most dangerous path is to be on the wrong one and you think it's the right one? And that often happens in diet and exercise, and it happens in any kind of training that is, that you could do a YouTube search and find people that claim to be great at it. And it's sometimes, most of the time, not. But the point I'm trying to make is that this whole idea of, order flow, well, that's an important concept. There's no doubt. And correlations and all these tangible concepts that we teach. Yes, that's important. But when it gets to the psychology of trading, that's really important also. And I feel like that's always going to be a weakness. It's not the first weakness you need to address, because if you don't know what you're doing, you could be in the best state of mind and it won't matter. You could be in a great state of mind as a carpenter, but if you don't know which end of the hammer to hold, good luck. Same thing with trading. And I think a lot of people go in directions that are way too difficult, overwhelming, and unnecessary, whether it's reading books and there's a lot of, I guess I would call it, let me write this down. There's a lot more study than there is action, right? There's a lot more study of what works and what does. Hey, that, instead of actually motion, right? So you could write the study, for crying out loud. You could give a kind of a 10-minute speech on why this works instead of what it is and everything else like that. And again, I would say trading psychology books are the number one bestsellers when it comes to that industry, right? You guys would agree to that? In fact, if you looked at all the books you might have read, the psychology and the mind probably is the most popular one, right? And so it's like, all right, that's great. But what I had kind of heard about a while ago, and I said, this is like really hard not to do. And that's what's important. What's going to be hard to do and you set yourself up for failure, and what's, too easy to do and it's boring. And so it's this whole idea, and some of you guys are familiar with maybe a chart. I'm going to show this chart in a second, a picture of it, but it's a flow chart. And I touched on this, I think, in a coaching session a long time ago, but there was never action attached to it. Now I want to push people into actually doing something. But what a flow chart is, your flow, your zone, all right? And stay with me on this one. Flow equals zone. You ever been in the zone in anything you've done? People have a hard time defining it or getting there. But how do you get to, let's just say, working out, where you're working your ass out? You're working out so hard, and it's hard, and you get anxious, you come overwhelmed, and you're up in here, and you eventually stop doing it. Most people. It's just too hard. And it's hard to get back up to that level. And then you do Mickey Mouse workouts, and you're bored, and you're not even seeing any kind of development, or you're not seeing any. So you're not going to do that either. But you got to find this middle path. And what this chart shows you is when the challenge is appropriate, the skill begins to climb. When your challenges are too great, oh, you got to tough it out, get through it. Yeah, okay. But what if you don't? And then you're back to square one. If it's too small, it's boring. You're not acquiring skill either way. You're not looking better. You're not stronger. You're not smarter. You're never given your chance to truly get into this zone. And so the video I watched, and I'm going to give you guys the YouTube URLs for it in the chat in a second. But the guy goes on and he talks about working out and how many exercise videos is all about getting to a point where, you know, you're exhausted. It might be 30 minutes going hard or an hour. And yeah, you're sweating and it was hard and you got through it and you felt better. And then you're sore the next day. And his whole concept was, and he's going to explain it better than I do. And I want you guys to listen to these two videos, and they're both short, 10, 20 minutes each. He says, if you do 10 pull-ups, and that's your absolute max, you cannot do another one, you're off for 3 days. So on Thursday, you do 10 more. So for the week, you did 20. He says, but if you only did 5 and you weren't that sore, and you did 5 on Tuesday and 5 on Wednesday and 5 on Thursday, and all of a sudden, by the end of the week, you've done more. It's all about volume than it is about going to full intensity. And there's a time for intensity training, but not daily. And you're not supposed to work yourself to a 10. And you're not supposed to even work yourself out where you're sore the next day. And people think, well, I'm sore because I'm out of shape. And there's a point that that's true, but it's not. It's at some point a tax on your body. But most importantly, here's what happens. People will at some point get to, they work out hard, they're sticking to it, but then there's that diminishing return. And because it's hard to get that mind back up there. It's hard to get ready to do it again. There's only a certain amount of people that could, you know, pass Navy SEAL training, no matter how great shape they're in, right? There's only so many people who can throw a ball 100 miles an hour. There's only so many people that could be a 10 in workouts as often as you're supposed to without giving up in 3 or 4 months, and then all the work and effort you put into it, you know, all of a sudden you give it back. So I want you to watch this video of this guy that is there's 3 videos I'm going to give you. One explains why flow training, not trading, training is the way to work out. Another video is a short workout of a guy that I think everybody should do, even if you work out. I think everybody should do this particular exercise or something, some variation. Do your own homework on it. Figure something out that will keep you doing it every day, every single day, because everybody could be in better shape than you are, even if you're in decent shape. Hey, maybe there are some guys in better shape, or I'm sorry, in the best shape that they could be in, but very few, I guarantee, are in the best shape that you could be in, or, you know, there's always someone could be in better shape. And if not physically, mentally, for sure. Correct? So going back to tying this into trading, man, how many times are you either overwhelmed or bored on this chart? So let's go to, I actually put a picture of this chart. I found one, and how many times are you actually outside this flow channel? And the reason why you're outside of it, you don't even know what it is. We don't even know what it is. And you think, well, I just got to learn more. You know, I got to learn more. Maybe you know this SHIT, you're just not going to the right file cabinet. You got the files, you're just not locating them in the back of your head, in the front of your head somewhere. Because you're up here trying to study too much, too much, too long, too many books. And then you go to an extreme where this sucks, this is boring. Because either place, you're not going to stay. And the only way skill increases, it could be skill in this job, it could be your physical abilities, it could be how you look. The only way you advance your skill is to stay from being overwhelmed and anxious or bored. How many dumb trades do we take when you're bored? How many dumb trades do you take when you're anxious? A lot. You don't realize it. Going back to what I had said about taking trades outside your best setup. That's why I asked the question the other day. How many guys have like a go-to setup that they could articulate and identify? And a lot of people, even a lot more than I thought, said yes, 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 yes. And so the next question is, well, how many trades do you take that are not that trade? And a lot of people said yes, 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 yes. So you have a favorite setup, your bucket. You can identify it, but you're taking a lot of trades outside that bucket. And again, it probably has something to do with anxiety of trying to turn the corner, make money, the boredom of, hey, this is kind of, you know, what I'm looking at, and it kind of works. I've seen that work before. And so it's just you're outside any kind of channel because you don't know it exists. And I think the only way to get there is to create some daily routine, not this necessarily I'm not a meditation guy. Anybody who knows me, you guys mostly know me. I'm not a guy that's going to be meditating and humming and doing those things. And for people that works for, good for you. And there's part of that in this short workout. But the point is to get yourself going without having to take a day off tomorrow and to close your eyes and think, I could see myself doing this every day forever. Not, oh, this is, man, I could do this tomorrow. Yep, come on, get up. We're going to do this again. Let's go. Honestly, really? You think you're going to do that for 6 months, for 8 months? Most of you guys are too old, for crying out loud. You're going to hurt yourself. The point is that in order to get yourself right mentally, you could do both at once, and you got to get yourself in this channel. And it's like, well, where is that channel? It's different for everybody, obviously. It's different for everybody. But I didn't do any research of this guy here that's footnoted at the bottom of this simple chart. But there's a there could be a better, short, easy workout, not super easy, but enough to get you to where you need to be. And then there's a video that's just 4 minutes that does a better job than I'm doing right now at explaining this. He's kind of explaining in a different way and goes over some stuff. And then the first video I want you to watch is probably 20 minutes about the explanation of why, most guys, most trainers out there or whatever, it's not that it doesn't work, but they, to work out to a high intensity all the time it's not the point. But one thing this guy says in this other video that I'll touch on that I liked the most was the getting better versus looking good. Getting better versus looking good. So why are you trying to get in better shape? Most people are, I want to look better, feel better. How about just you want to get better? And that brings me right into if you're in better shape physically, then you have a better chance to be in better shape mentally. And now you'll stay away from these trades and these trades. You remember how often I've said everything in life, that's what's fascinating about trading. Everything in life can be related back to your trading. Everything. And so it's like, well, how are you going to train yourself? Are you going to, read more books, or are you just going to do something that's doable to put me in a channel? So by doing the exercise, I'm not bored, but it ain't so overwhelming that I'm hurting. I'm hurting. In fact, one of the things the guy says in this 20-minute video is you're supposed to work out until you get to a certain level of feeling euphoric, and then you're done. So everything to me in life is that middle ground, that sweet spot. I've said that in many videos before. Everything has a sweet spot. And our diet and exercise has a sweet spot. And everybody's a little bit different. But if there's not activity, then it's all reading, then it's all filling your head with great information. And that's just the beginning of it. You have to go into action with some of this information. People that are going to be better at other things, it's like, well, great, you know how to do it, but have you tried it? So you have to be, everybody's looking for great leaders. Well, it starts with leading yourself and just doing what you say you're going to do. Because if you can't do that in some 7-minute workout, that's not a killer. 8-minute, 10-minute workout, that's not a killer. Then you got to be able to say, hey, I could do that. I could pass up on a trade that's not in my bucket. Are you kidding me? But I don't think that we're in this channel as often as we could be. And that's a word Tom mentions about productivity. It that's something that is a word that's very elusive among most people, especially in this day and age where distractions are super high. It's easy to get distracted and off course of basic tasks. Very easy. All it takes is one search of something that something else came up, and now you're off to the races watching things that are a waste of time. Not if, like, I'm intentional with what I'm looking for to kind of feed me. And so it's like one of my responsibilities for people coming to these sessions, people coming to the room, is to feed them with good information and help. But I got to be fed, right? So it's like a circular thing. So that's what I look for. And then you come across something like this and it clicks. When something's right, yeah, when you come across some things, yeah, that's interesting, that's cool. And then other things that just click, that's what this is. Is this going to make you a successful trader? Of course not. But it ain't going to hurt. And the answer isn't, it shouldn't be, of course not. The answer is, I don't know, but it ain't going to hurt. It only is going to help. So it's all about everything in what we're trying to do. We're on this planet for such a short time, is to get better than when we started. And I think that there's a lot of because of distraction. There's a big void in paying attention to yourself, and everybody's guilty of it. And so, if you're and someone's saying in the chat room, they're very rarely in the channel, but when you're in it, you know it. So why not give yourself the best opportunity to get in it mentally? And I think you got to be in it physically, and then you have a chance to be in it mentally. And then, man, then it's like not even discipline. Well, he's got great discipline. Nah, not really. He's just in a proper mindset. He's just in a proper mindset. People think discipline is hard, and if anything is hard, it's going to be more elusive the harder you perceive it, right? It's going to be more elusive. You're going to find reasons not to do it. So let me give you these, I think I'll put them in the, let's see how I could do this so I could share it for people who watch this on recording. Let me pause the recording 1 second. All right, we're recording again. For those live, I popped in the link so it's easy for you guys to get it. Those watching it on recording, which is going to be most people, not going to be able to copy and paste this, but you do have the URL. Just search some of these key URLs, but the key is understanding in 10 minutes. Does it make sense why you could kind of train this way? This one is like a 2-minute video, a little bit more, that to me brought out some things like getting better versus looking good, right? And then this was actually a 7-minute video. And it the thing is that there are better ones for you, fine. But my challenge is not to tell people stop taking trades outside your setup. You got to have a routine. You got to write down high, low, open, close. You got to do your profile homework. You got to do this homework. You got to do that homework. You got to do this. Who doesn't have this time? It's not like you're supposed to run over hot coals for 7 minutes, because I don't care how long. 7 minutes is a long time to do that. And some of it might be some meditation. I'm not big into that. Don't do it if you're not big into that. Maybe you end up liking it. Try something different. But if you make something too hard on yourself, some guys will continue to do it and in 5 years still doing it. Most won't. And then I think there's too many people out there that are trying to get people really tough. You don't have to be a guy who could go through Navy SEALs training to be tough or to be great at something. Those guys are remarkable, but it's like some guys could throw the ball 100 miles an hour, and no matter how long and how hard you train, you ain't going to be able to do that. But you can get better, and I don't think most people get better at this. If you chart it's hard to chart this because you can't just do it in a P&L. You get better and you get worse, so you feel like you're getting better, but you never really have that climb. Nobody ever gets better, and that's the key. If you're getting better, it probably means you're foul tipping pitches even though you're not getting hits. But boy, you weren't even able to swing. Then you were able to swing, you couldn't hit the damn pitch. Now you're foul tipping. You're actually seeing progress. But I think that comes with getting into a flow channel, but recognizing or identifying what your channel is and getting your ass in it. I think this is an important session, because I think that everybody could get better at something. And this is one way to do it where it's not terribly difficult, or you're going to get hurt. And that's a problem. A lot of people get hurt trying to train, and then they're done. And mentally getting hurt is in trading. Think how we take this right back to trading. You take a stupid trade and you lose $5,000 and you only got $6,000 in your account. One trade, you lose $5,000. That's working out, and you're maybe getting better, and then you get hurt. You blow out an Achilles heel because you're doing some high intensity workout. You want to avoid that. You're not doing yourself any good sometimes by pushing that envelope. And just remember, you're not going to be a Navy SEAL. Those guys are remarkable. Some of you guys might be, but just because you didn't pass the BUD/S training doesn't mean you're a loser. Honestly, if I went to one of those sessions, even when I was in the best shape of my life, I'd have brought a remote control to ring that bell. But again, the default here is find your channel to get yourself in a flow. You're not bored, you're not anxious, but you're having fun. I think one of the things the guy says in the in the interview in that first link that I put up here, this link up here is, when you're in the flow, it's when time flies. When time flies, that's because you're in a flow in the conversation. It's not boring, but it's not like super intense. And, it's just next thing you know, 3 hours went by. So good luck with this. I hope it helps. If it helps just one person, that's awesome. I hope it helps everybody in just getting better, because that's all that we have is that word, better. We'll see you guys in the room tomorrow, or the guys who just come to these coaching sessions next week. Be safe.